Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, and others. Also, first things first.
Also, first things first. Also, first things first. Not a great start to a wedding speech. In fact, not a great start to any speech at all. Hey everybody, welcome to our next installment of Mics and Movies, where I break down speeches from television shows, and movies, and tell you why those speeches are so powerful. And today, we have one of my absolute favorite scenes from a television show and speeches of all time. If you're not familiar with the character Sherlock Holmes, facepalm, big ol' facepalm. Please, please, please do everything you can to become familiar with the character of Sherlock Holmes. And the best place to start is the BBC edition of Sherlock Holmes. It is modernized, it is intelligent, it is surprising, it is everything you want in a television show. And in this particular episode, Sherlock Holmes, the great Sherlock Holmes, the very intelligent, very confident, very powerful Sherlock Holmes is giving a speech, which is why it's surprising that he's epically bombing the beginning of it. Absolutely epically. He has long, awkward silences. He has a weird transition where he says again, and also first things first, which doesn't make sense. So let's come back to Sherlock and see what's going on.
First things first, telegrams. Well, they're not actually telegrams. We just call them telegrams. I don't know why. Wedding tradition. Because we don't have enough of that already, apparently.
Notice he did a quick jab on wedding traditions. That's going to be significant. And for those of you who are not familiar, I wasn't familiar with this tradition. Telegrams are simply notes to the bride and groom if that individual couldn't attend the wedding.
To Mr. and Mrs. Watson, so sorry I'm unable to be with you on your special day. Good luck and best wishes, Mike Stamford. Mike. To John and Mary, all good wishes for your special day with love and many big squishy cuddles from Stella and Ted.
If you know anything about the character Sherlock Holmes, him saying big squishy cuddles is part of his worst nightmare.
Mary, lots of love.
Yeah?
Pop it. Oodles of love and heaps of good wishes from Cam. Wish your family could have seen this.
Notice how the audience members are not just enjoying the telegrams, but those who know Sherlock are enjoying him struggling through these telegrams. And notice his frustration grow.
Special day. Very special day. Love, 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 love. Bit of a theme, you get the general gist. People are basically fond.
People are basically fond. Isn't that so sentimental? He gets so annoyed with these telegrams, with these words of love and encouragement, that he actually skips them through. Again, not quite how you want to model your best man speech or your best woman speech in front of an audience.
I'm afraid, John, I can't congratulate you. All emotions, and in particular love, stand opposed to the pure, cold reason I hold above all things. A wedding is, in my considered opinion, nothing short of a celebration of all that is false and specious and irrational and sentimental in this ailing and morally compromised world. Today we honor the death watch beetle that is the doom of our society, and in time one feels certain our entire species.
Oh, no.
But anyway, let's talk about John.
Please.
Notice what he just did there. He dropped yet another bomb into the audience about how he really feels about weddings. Now, you would think that a man as intelligent as Sherlock Holmes would have the social wherewithal to not criticize the audience for being at an event where they are celebrating. He's literally criticizing not just the event, but criticizing them for actually being there. What in the world is going on, and why do I consider this one of the best man speeches ever? Let's keep watching.
Let's talk about John. Please. If I burden myself with a little helpmate during my adventures, this is not out of sentiment or caprice. It is that he has many fine qualities of his own that he has overlooked in his obsession with me. Indeed, any reputation I have for mental acuity and sharpness comes in truth from the extraordinary contrast John so selflessly provides.
Okay. You would think giving a toast to a groom and talking about him would be to accent his best qualities. But notice exactly what he's saying. And I especially want you to keep in mind the term sharp contrast, which he uses. This is really important to understanding the motivation to why Sherlock organized his speech the way that he did.
It is a fact, I believe, that brides tend to favor exceptionally plain bridesmaids for their big day. There is a certain analogy there, I feel. And contrast is, after all, God's own plan to enhance the beauty of his creation. Or it would be if God were not a ludicrous fantasy designed to provide a career opportunity for the family idiot.
Did anybody else see that? Did anybody else see Sherlock take it another level and not just criticize the event and criticize the people for being at that event, but he actually criticized faith and religion as a whole and went so far as to call the minister the family idiot? What a horrible, grotesque thing to do, especially in a moment of great celebration and great love. So why is this an effective speech? Let's keep watching.
The point I'm trying to make is that I am the most unpleasant, rude, ignorant, and all-round obnoxious arsehole that anyone could possibly have the misfortune to meet. I am dismissive of the virtuous, unaware of the beautiful, and uncomprehending in the face of the happy.
I want to pause here. Notice how he is undoing some of the damage that he did. He's recognizing his own unawareness of the beauty and the sanctity and the joy of the
So if I didn't understand I was being asked to be best man, it is because I never expected to be anybody's best friend. Certainly not the best friend of the bravest and kindest and wisest human being I have ever had the good fortune of knowing. John, I am a ridiculous man, redeemed only by the warmth and constancy of your friendship. Wow. But as I am apparently your best friend, I cannot congratulate you on your choice of companion. Actually, now I can.
Actually, now I can. Here's what Sherlock did. He used a very powerful literary strategy named foil. John Watson and Sherlock Holmes oftentimes served as foil characters to one another. I'll give you a great example of what it means to have foil characters. If you put the tallest human being in the world next to the shortest human being in the world, that tall person is going to seem a lot taller, and that short person is going to seem a lot shorter. Sherlock Holmes wasn't just insulting the crowd for the sake of insulting the crowd. He was making a very important point. He was saying that John is such an incredible man. And in order to show how John was such an incredible man, he himself had to show how awful he was to accent the great qualities of John Watson. And as he developed this argument, as he developed this experience that he, Sherlock Holmes, is a despicable human being, he could not congratulate John on his choice of companion. But then that pause, that twist, as he looks to his bride and says, actually, today I can. That is such a powerful way of shifting the focus away from Sherlock to the bride. This is a great strategy to use in any speeches, not just best man or best woman speeches, but in anything. When you provide a sharp contrast to something, you're going to accent those qualities. That makes the experience that much more rich for the audience. Now let's keep watching.
Mary, when I say you deserve this man, it is the highest compliment of which I am capable. John, you have endured war and injury and tragic loss. So sorry again about that last one. So know this, today you sit between the woman you have made your wife and the man you have saved. In short, the two people who love you most in all this world. And I know I speak for Mary as well when I say we will never let you down, and we have a lifetime ahead to prove that.
If I try and hug him, stop me.
Certainly not.
Notice this. He had an audience that was ready to run him out, that was ready to absolutely cut the mic and kick him out of the wedding. And he quickly turned that into an audience of tears. That is some very powerful persuasion.
Ah, yes. Now on to some funny stories about John. What's wrong? What happened? Why are you all doing that? John?
Oh, Sherlock.
Did I do it wrong?
No, you didn't. Come here. I haven't finished yet. Yeah, I know.
So on to some funny stories.
Such a heartfelt and honest moment. See, Sherlock is very aware of his unawareness. He's very aware that emotions don't necessarily come naturally to him or at all. And so after delivering this very powerful, very persuasive speech on how great John is, and he starts to transition into these funny stories of John, which, by the way, is super interesting because the format that he uses models the format of any Google search on how to give a best man speech. And as he sees the audience crying and silent, he really actually truly questions if he did it right. And we end this speech with a gigantic hug from his dear friend, John Watson. Again, this is a great example on using foil or juxtaposition to accent something that you want to accent, and something that you can really use in any speeches, not just wedding speeches. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Mics and Movies. Make sure that you hit subscribe and stay up to date on all content related to mics and movies, Enneagram, confidence, storytelling, and much, much more. Until next time, make sure that you come off mute and speak up your story.